everyone alive on the 26th of November, and we assume many of the citizens alive today will be joining us later at the memorial in the Taj rather than celebrating out in the streets. The whole of Mumbai will surely remember what 26th November was like, especially for those whose religion was besmirched and misunderstood, with a handful of terrorists responsible for 26/11. The ceremonies will be beginning soon of the brutal execution that took place 2 days ago of the head of the terrorist gang. But before that, we would like to take you to the Parliament of India, where we will meet Ahalya Choksi. Over to you, Michael.
With us this morning is Ahalya Choksi, who is a member of the Conservative Party of India. Today she will be sharing some of her views with us on the matter of 26/11, in which 2,000 people were killed, followed by a series of explosions during the rush hour. Ahalya Choksi, thanks for being here.
Namaste!
To start off with, we all know what happened 10 years ago, the day that shocked Indian history. Is this day, the death of the terrorist leader, a day to celebrate for India?
As you said, this day was one of the darkest of days of our community, of Indian history, and thankfully the government pulled up their socks and at the right time and executed this head of the terrorist gang, Mr. Musaka bin Laden. He deserves to be dead, no regret. He certainly isn't worthy of any explanation, second chance, nothing.
The misfortune of 26/11 hurts me too, Ahalya. But there are yet darker days to follow after the inhumane killing of the head of the terrorist gang. The celebrations of the killing are crude, and it seems almost as if we've been impersonating our enemies when we cheer bloodshed. The 26/11 attack was a monstrous event that took the lives of thousands of innocent civilians, and it's understandable that people are reacting with joy over the death of the person responsible for 26/11. But does the killing of the head of the terrorist gang actually make Mumbai any safer? I personally don't feel happy to cheer boastfully at the news that someone just got 2 bullets put in their skull. Sensible politicians would have preferred to have trial rather than a murder, is all I want to conclude with. However, since the politicians of our country have already murdered the head of the terrorist gang, I would like to ask you, does the killing of the head of the terrorist gang actually make Mumbai any safer?
Well, of course, India is safer now. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? And now, since the biggest threat is dead, Indian citizens have absolutely nothing to fear and can once again lead their lives peacefully, happy, calm, no stress.
Are you sure there aren't darker days to follow after the inhumane killing of the head of the terrorist gang? There are several innocent people out there waiting for retaliation, not only for the killing, but also for all the hardship and discrimination that faced for a decade now.
Ready.
We must understand one thing very clearly. Muslims too died on 26/11, and the moderate majority has the right not to be stigmatized for the actions of a handful of co-religionists. You must remember that the diversity of Mumbai is what makes it special and strong. Interrogating, discriminating, and ruthlessly murdering people of the same religion as the head of the organization is not only immoral, but is making India a more precarious place to live in. However, it's not only the discrimination that has made India a more dangerous place to live in, but many say the terrorist operations carried out a few years ago in certain countries made India very unpopular, and thus a prime target for terrorism. So, this is my next question. How were the terrorist operations actually carried out, and why had it become such a controversial issue?
Yes, there were a lot of controversies, but not because of the government, but solely because many citizens are uneducated about these operations and started creating unnecessary problems. They were completely not necessary. People must realize that if they go to war, they will die. Unfortunately, that is the case. Those emotional fools will now realize that these operations were actually worth of finally killing the biggest terrorist of our country.
If you're living in the same world as everyone else here, do you actually think that the military operations were worth it if 6,000 Indian citizens died in those operations? The extent to which these military operations supported corrupt regimes and spent billions of dollars on regimes that don't have the popular support of the people, regimes that aren't committed to any of the values we Indians believe in, and the only reason we've been doing it is because of a narrow concept started by the President of India that everything was about terrorism. It has hurt our values and our security in deep ways as we have alienated large parts of these countries.
Let me tell you one thing. I'm sure these operations they had the majority of the support of the people. After all, the money went to a good cause. That is not fair, Michael G.
Okay, let's put it this way. Do you think if the president had to provide more money for the military operations to Pakistan, that he would get the support of the public? To your surprise, if the president went around the country, I can't imagine you can find a rational human being saying, yes, we're spending $2 million in Pakistan a week, spend more money. Well, yeah, thanks for being here, Halia.
Yeah. Hello! How are you, sir?
To finish off with our special edition today, I would just like to say, in the years since 2611, we have begun to act in the same manner as our enemies, celebrating bloodshed against those we see as terrorists just as much as our enemies celebrate bloodshed against innocent Indians they killed for personal reasons. The India that once avoided from flaunting ghastly pictures of our victims for moral reasons now suddenly rejoices over showing pictures, footages, and celebrations over the death of the head of the terrorist gang. Is this the future of India we want to become into? I'll let it die.
It's the wrong time for somebody.